So we're going to begin our discussion of data and what statistics is all about by talking about the different types of data that you will encounter. But let's step back and ask ourselves, what is statistics? Statistics is the study about how to best collect, analyze, and draw conclusions from data. So data is the key component of statistics. Statistics has developed relatively recently. Really, it's only become formalized in the past 80 to 90 years, really in the 20th century. But the foundations of statistics, it lies much earlier. It lies 1,000, 2,000 years ago. One way to think about what statistics is all about is to put it in the context of the general process of scientific investigation. We can think of the process of scientific investigation as entailing several steps. The first step is to identify a question or problem. The second step is to collect relevant data related to this question or problem. The third step is to analyze the data that you just collected. And the fourth step is to make a conclusion. For example, you might say, will aspirin help stop my headache? So you might identify a question related to aspirin, which is, will it stop my headache or not? Then you might collect relevant data on the topic. So you might take an aspirin on a particular day when you have a headache, and you might keep track of whether an aspirin helps stop a headache or prevent a headache or reduce the symptoms of a headache. And then you will analyze this data after collecting several years or weeks or months of data, and then you'll make a conclusion. You might say, well, aspirin works for some people, but it doesn't work for me. We do this process of scientific investigation every day. It's really in our bones. It's natural for most people. For example, you might say, does working out in the morning make me more energized? You might say, will eating a watermelon relieve my thirst? Some students will say, they'll ask themselves, when they're taking a course, they'll say, if I study 1 hour a day, can I ace the final exam? Or people who want to lose weight, they'll say, if I just avoid cream with my coffee in the morning, will that help me lose weight? The key point here is that we do this all the time. Everybody asks these kinds of questions, and informally, people collect data, even if it's just a set of observations in the world around them, and then they come to certain conclusions. So we really do that all the time. We go through this general process of scientific investigation. The goal of statistics, however, is to take this general process of scientific investigation and improve it, especially steps 2, 3, and 4. The collection of relevant data, the analysis of this relevant data, and the process of making a conclusion. The idea of statistics is to make this entire process, steps 2, 3, and 4, more reproducible, reliable, and rigorous. To put it another way, statistics is about improving the process of scientific investigation. Substantively, that first step differs depending on your background. So for this course, where we're really focusing on topics in the social sciences and humanities, we're going to focus on questions or problems that a social scientist or a historian or an anthropologist might ask and address. But before we really investigate that, we should ask ourselves what data really consists of. Data are just a set of observations. These observations can be collected in various ways, such as through field notes, surveys, and experiments. There are lots of different ways to collect the data about the world around us. In the social sciences and humanities, we often have data on people. If you go to different subject fields, such as biology or physics, you don't always have people as your set of observations for your data. But in the social sciences and humanities, data are often centered around people. Now, you might encounter this sort of grammatical issue about whether you refer to data or datum. The singular form of data is datum. So that's one bit of data. It's a data point. So you might say that datum is very low. That data point, that particular observation is very low. Data is the plural form, but it may be used with a singular or plural verb. So both are grammatically correct. You can say the data were analyzed after they were collected, or you can say the data was analyzed after it was collected. So when we're talking about data, sometimes people will correct you and say that you're using it incorrectly, but you can use data, even though it's plural, you can use it with a single or plural verb.